Dare to Dream. My name is Philana Imade Omorotionmwan, and I'm a playwright for The Defiance of Dandelions. The Defiance of Dandelions is a play about a group of girls who are trapped in the in-school suspension room at their school. So it follows them as they are waiting for a release that seems like it may never come. The reason that they're there is for transgressions they've made against traditional, meaning white femininity, whether that be physically protecting their space or talking a lot or getting pregnant. And in this world, girls can become pregnant with a field of dandelions. And so the girls are in the room talking about the possibility of what might be born from one of the other girls in the room. When I was a child, my mother started putting on plays at the library. She would take a short story and turn it into a play that was performed for children because my sister and I were very quiet, and she was concerned that we were not learning how to speak in front of other people. And so this was the solution. So we did this all throughout like my childhood and up until like the teenage years. And then I was like, I'm a little too old for these things. And so I thought that I would be a performer. I really liked having the ability to speak without necessarily having to think about it. There was always for me the disconnect between like, well, what am I going to say? And so I really appreciated that about theater. It gave me language, it gave me my voice. And from there, when I realized maybe acting is not the thing for me, I became interested in playwriting. And so I studied it in undergrad with a woman by the name of Sheri Moraga. I also did spoken word while I was in college, so I was also writing in that genre as well. And then I took a brief break and then decided to go back to grad school and just have time to focus on my writing. And so it was through that process that I developed this play and then had the opportunity to do readings of other plays and just kind of learn what it means to try to make it as a playwright. I really like playwriting. In part, I like it because you can be the quieter person in the room. You can be in the back of the theater. And there's something really lovely about creating what is essentially a blueprint and then seeing how that comes to life through the work that the designers, the actors, and the directors do, and how they take it and just make it so much better than anything you ever could have imagined. So I like being the writer. It definitely did challenge me. I think this play was different from anything I had written before because in previous plays I was really thinking about an individual protagonist moving through a story. And so this play was more of a challenge because I had to think about a collective and a community and how their stories work together and making sure that they felt like fully fleshed out in a way that maybe I hadn't with previous plays, because I feel like the individual story can be like, generally like that's what I was trained in and how to do, but I don't necessarily know that that's the most productive way to move through the world. So it was part of that was figuring out how to write that and then also how to live in that space of something that felt more communal than anything that I had written before. Once you're writing, then you start to like, it's like pulling threads and then different things have to happen. I guess I feel like with this story, it was very set in my mind, like who each of the characters were. So in the play, they don't have names. They don't have names at the beginning of the play. So like there's a character called the Boisterousness. She doesn't know what her name is. So her storyline is based on the fact that she talks too much. So it stayed pretty much the same for the character because of who they were in that space. My favorite part of the play is probably the beginning, because it starts with this call to story that I feel like is just inherent in, African culture and how stories were told. And so I really love that. And for me, it imagines a world before this one, but also what the world could be like after this one. And so I really love that beginning of the play, the first scene. The process was definitely not linear. It was written all out of order. I mean, even specific sections were written out of order. It's like, here's a piece of this, here's a piece of that, I'll figure out how to put it together. But I do think in this instance, the last thing that I probably revised was the ending because I wanted to feel like the ending was earned by what had happened. So that's actually, I feel like, still a work in progress of making sure that the ending feels like we've gotten to the right place. So stay tuned. Yeah. I hope that the audience has an experience of joy, communal celebration, and connection. I'm trying to create work that feels uplifting within the conditions that we live in, so I hope that the audience can leave feeling a little bit of that. To have the experience to see the play produced in the city where I live, in the state where I grew up, is just something that I never thought I would have, and so it just feels like just such a wonderful opportunity to be a part of something as it is starting up.